So, Shadow of the Eagle series, Battle of Medellin, 1809. Turn 6, the Spanish player phase, doing Spanish movement here. Already moved, I think I moved pretty much everybody except I had gotten to the, I'd gotten all the way over here to this disorganized unit when I wanted to review the movement for disorganized units. And actually I had just moved, so here's the Spanish 5th Division Commander Albuquerque. Right there. Ay, it's bad. So he's here. I just moved this routed cavalry unit right there. I just moved them in with Albuquerque there. Spanish cavalry. So Spanish cavalry may use any friendly leader for reorganization purposes. That's what I want. The rules kind of imply that to reorganize, you do a morale check. And if you do a morale check to reorganize, you would think that you would use all of the die roll modifiers that go with the morale table. That includes especially the leader and the terrain. Not to mention, well, -1 if an enemy Zoc is clearly what applies if attempting to reorganize, because that's spelled out. But I wonder what the Spanish says. But what about the other modifiers? I've been implying that the other modifiers apply. Then I was starting to wonder. Yeah, I can't make out what the Spanish is supposed to say, but it would just make sense. I mean, I understand if you have to check morale, you're going to add 1 if the unit is in a building, tree, hex, town, or castle, but it would seem to me that same type of modifier would apply when you're trying to reorganize as well. So I'm going to go with that for now. But I mean, that's why I was thinking of that. So I looked up routed unit movement. Routed units, of course, have to move up to their full movement allowance towards their base. Okay, towards their base. And that's where any commander, like Albuquerque here, can serve as a base for the Spanish cavalry there. Now, so then I was thinking about this disorganized unit here. Disorganized, actually, their movement is not affected. Their movement potential is not influenced at all, except that they cannot. I think they cannot move into a enemy Zoc. I think. They can't. Yeah, they can't enter an enemy Zoc, and they have to leave if they're in one. But otherwise, they're moving normally. So I look, and I say, okay, it's their combat that takes a hit. Their what is it? Their attack. No, what is it? Their something's halved. Their fire and shock values are halved. That's interesting. But yeah, their fire and shock values are halved. So I'll just move him up there. Okay, so that made me think, okay. Which, by the way, I was thinking about this the other day, but I'm reminded of it. What do you do with units that are kind of independent? Like the Spanish cavalry minus these 3 way over here. These 3, 1, 2, and 3, they fall under the first division commander there, Henestrosa. But actually, I'm trying to remember how that's actually worded. Yeah. All Spanish cavalry is considered independent and do not need orders. Exception: the 3 cavalry units on the left flank. That is these 3. Toledo, Infante, yep, and all Mansa. Okay, so it is those 3. Are under the command of General Henestrosa, 1st Division commander there. Okay. But here's the deal. It sounds good. Artillery, by the way. I was thinking of artillery the other day. Do not need orders. But the problem with that is that at least one thing is influenced by orders, and that is having a maneuver order influences movement allowance. But there was another one. There was movement is also influenced by orders. So, example, there it is, a bridge. A bridge for movement costs is +1 for infantry and +2 for cavalry, except it says no additional cost if under maneuver orders. Ooh, there's another one. D, buildings. Only cost 1 MP if under maneuver orders, and no other units in the hex. So the point is, and this is what I'm looking at. These are the notes underneath the terrain effects chart. The bottom line is these movement values, these ones, and these ones, and these ones. So multiple terrain effects entries are influenced by an order. So does that mean that units that don't need orders are not affected by those notes? I don't know. So then I was thinking, when I got done moving from Spanish left to right, then I was thinking, well, I probably should keep an eye on the demoralization of these formations. I talked about this before, but that made me think, since I was looking at these. So this is a disorganized independent cavalry there, as well as the routed one underneath Albuquerque. So thinking about the independent cavalry made me think about the demoralization levels. And I thought to myself, how do you handle the demoralization levels of the independent cavalry? Well, in this case, they are actually given. So here's the Spanish side, cavalry. They don't have a leader, that's correct. They do have a points level, demoralization level of 10 points. So that is given, that's nice. And then I was looking, so I think this one's disorganized. I think that counts as 3. This one's routed. It counts as 4. And this one over here is also disorganized. So, I'm thinking you almost want maybe a little display if you're going to play this game regularly, because I think the cavalry is now demoralized. And again, the major thing about that is that they all instantly, it happens, I believe it happens instantly. You're not, when would you assess this? I'm not sure when you assess this, but they all have 1 lower morale grade. So this D is an E, that D is an E, etc., etc. Now these are recoverable, right? This is only because of routing and disorganization. When these 2 recover from disorganization and this one recovers from routing, the formation is fine and back to normal. So that is a temporary thing because these units are not eliminated. but it still is something to remember. So, oh, see, that makes a huge difference, because way over here on the far Spanish right, I decided to take a chance on charging again. And now, that was, not only is that a bad idea in general because of the light Spanish cavalry, but now it's even worse because they're part of the cavalry. Yes, they are. And so now, when they charge, I'm not going to change this, they are not D morale level, they are E morale level. So I'm trying to look for, nope, here's another one. He's in good order. And I moved him up to be adjacent to the French-German Voltigeurs there. That looks like about everybody. Yeah, it does. Oh, let's see if Portago has one under him. Nope, he's got infantry. He's got his own infantry with him. Yeah, so I wasn't sure about that, but it's very clear that the Spanish cavalry, as a formation, is demoralized. And that makes a difference because I already declared the charge before I figured that out. I'm straightening out this Spanish infantry unit, which is reminding me again of another issue with them. Again, if you're going to play this game, I think you want to keep it really straight. I know what was the ambiguity. Maybe it's a straight up gap in the rules. You pay an extra, so if he moves from here to here, which, by the way, I don't think out of command units lose their ZOC. I don't think that's an issue. So here's the enemy. What's clear is that a ZOC is flank hexes and front hexes. So what's clear is that the Spanish infantry did move into an enemy ZOC, and they do pay an extra movement point. But I also checked. You do move only through your front hexes. That's kind of, I mean, we're used to that. But I still can't find where it says you only attack through your front hexes. So even though, so let me back up and say, this unit wants to move. He can only move through his front hex sides, this way or this way. He chooses to move, this way. He enters an enemy ZOC, he pays an extra movement point. Now what? The gap is, can you change facing? So first I thought, can you change facing in an enemy ZOC? Then I was wondering, well, why does it matter? If you can attack out through your flanks, especially with no penalty, then I would say, why would you waste your time? It's not even wasting time. See, why would you orient yourself like that to put the enemy's flank in your front when you're now exposing your flank? And apparently there's no reason to. If you stay this way, oriented this way, you attack out of your flank, and you attack the enemy's flank, and you're still presenting your front forward. So that's, I don't know about that. And then, so like I said, if you're going to play this game regularly, you want to keep these straight, because when you move through the zone of control, again, flank and front, you're going to pay an extra point. If you enter the front hexes, then you have to stop. And you can move, I think you can move at the beginning of your next turn if you pass a morale check. But you don't have to do that entering the flank hexes. I think you're going to pay an extra point because it is still the enemy zone of control. But it's not a front hex, so you don't have to stop. But the real thing is, all right, let's just say you did want to change facing within an enemy zone of control. Can you do it? I don't really see why not. Does it cost? Yeah, as a matter of fact, does it cost? Because changing, oh, I see. Maybe you pay 1 to change facing cost 1 additional movement point during movement. Maybe you can change in enemy zone of control because it is costing you something. Okay, I guess that's one way to look at it. Because you're still paying for the facing change. You paid 1 to enter the enemy Zoc. And then if you want to change facing in the enemy Zoc, you're still paying for that normally. Okay, I think those are all of the thoughts and questions regarding especially movement. But it's unresolved. What do you do with units that don't follow orders when you have these few rules that are influenced by what order a unit is under?